Hello everyone, and welcome to Finger on the Funny, the show where I deconstruct the jokes of my peers in order for you to better understand the way joke writing works and the way that a comedian's brain works, and so that I can benefit by stealing all of their tricks and feasting on their souls. My guest today is Bobby Knauff. Knauff comes from the German/Bavarian word for button, and Bobby has got his finger on the button of my funny bone. Ha ha ha! Bobby's one of my favorite comedians, both in general and also in the Ottawa area, because he does this really cool thing where he takes subjects that would normally give me anxiety and keep me up at night and finds a way to not only make them funny, but gives me the ability to actually deal with these subjects. It's really great. He's really great in the way that he phrases stuff, and is not only a great joke writer, but also has an amazing stage presence. We're going to take a little look at the way that he performs act outs as well. That thing that he does, where he does the thing. You're gonna see it. There's no point in me acting it out for you. So without further ado, let's dive into my interview with Bobby Knauff.
I was watching a Yuck Yucks performance where you had you had equated the ending of a 5-year relationship to Lost. And that went into this big thing about going back on the market and what is the market. And I gotta know, where the fuck did that bit come from? Because the whole thing is genius.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. That just came from just a real breakup.
Right.
And that is when I think I started writing well.
Okay.
not to say that before that wasn't like good writing or I wasn't taking things from my real life, but I started so young doing stand-up at like 18, 19 that I hadn't really had any real life experience to write about. So I was writing or imitating comics I looked up to or liked.
Right.
Even if I'm not stealing material, just like writing in their voice.
Okay.
About my surroundings and stuff like that, and thinking I had a voice kind of thing. And then I guess like after that relationship ended, that 5.5-year relationship, that was the first time I guess I experienced any type of like, I had a grandparents pass and stuff like that, but that's natural, and I had pets pass. But that was the first time I felt like a real loss that was so personal and just
Right.
like, I'll never recover. And like, then it kind of dug in, and I was like, found funny in that. And then that's when like that joke came out of it. So it's one of those jokes that's like, when you picked that one, I was like, oh, I love this one. It's like dear to my heart, because I felt like, even if it's kind of like, even if I look back at it now and like, I'd write this a bit better, or maybe change that, or not do this, I love it so much because it was like, I was fucking super depressed. I just got dumped on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Like,
Oof.
and then I tore my ACL and my meniscus on New Year's Eve, being an idiot, drunk dancing, and just so stupid. I have other jokes about all that stuff, but then it was literally that a friend came and visited me. I'm stuck in Thunder Bay. So I was living in Toronto at the time, but then stuck in Thunder Bay with this bum knee, dumped, just like my life sucks, blah, 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 everything. And then a friend came over who lived in Thunder Bay, doing the friend thing, trying to cheer you up.
Right.
And I'm just like, I'm never going to be funny again. Fucking hate everything like that. And my friend's like, don't worry, man. You were dating her from like when you were 19, like till now. Like, you're still young. You're in your 20s. Like once you're healed up, like you're back on the market. And like literally said that thing that friends try to say or whatever,
Right.
like, back on the market. And I looked at him, and there was literally like a pile of Kleenex from all the jerking off I had done earlier that day.
Yeah.
And some from tears because I was crying. Because I'm like, I'm sad, I'm broken up and horny, stuck here with my bum knee.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him like, I know you're trying to be nice, but that's like the worst thing you could say. Like, back on the market. Like, I feel sorry for whoever gets this. And then that's where it just kind of like literally came from there. And then I was like mad at them. And then I like texted them later. I'm like, thank you so much. I just wrote my first joke since all of this had happened. You know what I mean? Because like, something bad doesn't happen, I'm not immediately like, oh, how can I turn this into hilarious? It's more like, oh, I hate everything. Fuck, just down there. And then you like that little gem. It's like a light. I kind of like take my comedy writing now as like, especially when I'm depressed or something, it's a little light being like, hey, look over here, look in this corner kind of thing. And then it's like, oh, that's something to hold on to.
Yeah, who here's in a relationship? That's great, it's gonna end. I don't know why people think that is the thing. We know we all die, but we're like, but this thing will survive. This two people is gonna be the best. Even if you love someone a lot, no! I love pizza, but if I had to eat it every day, I'd be like, oh my God, shoot me in the face, I'll eat grass. If I have to eat pizza one more god, oh, it's pepperoni, green pepper, get it out of the room. So I don't know why we think relationship. I was in a relationship for 5.5 years. Oh, sad now, funny coming. It was almost as long as Lost, guys. We almost hit that 6-year Lost mark. But my relationship was very similar to the TV show Lost, because at the beginning of Lost, in the beginning of my relationship, I was like, oh my God, you're so fascinating. I love spending every minute of my day with you. I love everything about you, and I want to know all your secrets. But then by the end of Lost and my relationship, I was like, just end. Just end. None of this makes sense anymore. I hate everything you say. Why did I invest so much time? I wish we both died in that plane crash. That would have been a better TV show and a better relationship. We would have died loving each other. But my friends tried to cheer me up. They're like, don't worry, Bobby, you're back on the market now. You're back on the market. Just sitting on my couch covered in tears. Bunch of Kleenex around. Some of them are crustier than the other ones. So that's what happens when you get dumped. It's just a cycle of liquid coming out of you. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, what terrible market are women shopping at? That I'm just back on it after 5.5 years. That doesn't make sense to any other store you shop at. You can't go to a store 5.5 years later with something you bought and you're like, here you go. And they're like, yep, right back on the shelf that goes. For some new consumers. We were hoping it would come back. No, he's gonna look at you and be like, yeah, that's garbage now. I don't even want to touch it if you could go throw it away for me. Like, what behind Value Village hobo run market? Women shopping for guys, and I'm just back on it. You're just like some hunchback with a bum knee, just waiting for a group of women. Oh, hello, ladies, hello. Come this way to the market. Oh yeah, right this way. Here's our 1-year guys. They still live with their parents. Oh. Have you ever had to try and have sex really quiet? That's exciting, right? No? Okay, not for you. Okay. Oh, here's our 2-year guys. They can barely keep a job. Oh. That's fun. Every 6 months, you're like, how are we going to pay the rent? No? Okay, not for you. Okay, these ladies are hard shoppers. Oh, we just got a shipment of 5.5-year guys. Oh, these are real gems. They're hard to get. They have anger issues and they prematurely ejaculate. There you go. You think you can change them, but nope. And then when you're done with them, just drop them in a bin and we'll bring them right back to them.
Yeah, you have an uncanny ability to do that, man. I had said in the pre-interview thing that you have this ability to take shit that would keep me up at night. You know, the concept of death and like, you know, just the whole eat peaches, get naked and eat peaches in a forest thing. Like, automation scares me. You know, as soon as they brought that the checkout thing in Shoppers, I was like, oh, you're coming for my job next. You know. And you found this way to make it so funny. And I really appreciate it as somebody that is so anxious about this shit all the time. It helps me deal with it. Having somebody that's so prolific at writing a joke around something that's so like, you know, like pearl clutching for me. It's really cool, man.
Well, thank you so much again for the super kind words. Cause like, that's kind of how, like I was saying before, I was writing in the people I looked up to in their voice.
Yeah.
Then once I started writing in my own voice, I could actually start listening to those people again in a different kind of point of view. and not just kind of look up to them in this like, oh, wait, like, oh my God, you're an amazing writer, but seeing the human connection that they were making with me and being like, oh, that's why they click with me.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And then I was trying to like, now that's how I kind of look at something when I'm trying to write something. Hopefully it comes out of nowhere and it's just that like piecing it together or someone saying something and you being like, oh man, that's hilarious. But then sometimes it's work and you know what I mean? And you have to try and really work at it and be like, oh, and then that's where I'm always trying to come from a different angle, not even just to like be this really unique angle from everyone else and be this crazy prolific person, but just like, no, how do I make it so that like once people hear this, they could be like, oh, I could have thought that.
Right. Yeah.
And not make them feel dumb about it, but make them feel like, oh, this guy's clever for finding it. I didn't look at it that way, but he's not being like, look how I thought of it. Because sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes a really smart writer will shoot themselves in the foot because they have to, while telling you this really cool thing, they have to tell you how cool they are.
Yeah.
That they wrote it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, this is so funny. And like, I came up with it. Like, it's just like, just let it be funny and let them be like, oh, cool, and connect with it kind of thing. And I only say that because I used to kind of do that sometimes when I was younger,
right,
and have those smarter jokes than people my age or something like that. And then I'd have to be like almost pat myself on the back while on stage that like, oh, you didn't expect like a 21-year-old to have this author referenced in their a literary joke, you know what I mean? And not make it funny, just be like, I'm fucking cool, eh? Like, and it's getting over that hump of like trying not to be cool, because that's so hard in this.
Oh yeah. Because what we do is like, my girlfriend tells me this all the time, but what we do isn't cool, you know what I mean? Like, we're not up there with like, you know, guitars and shit like that. Like we are the court jester, you know? Like it's definitely hard to fight that urge of being like, you came here for laughs, but you got Kerouac, you know what I mean?
Exactly, that urge to just want to be like, yeah, I'm goofy and everything like that, but I'm also fucking cool. It's like, no, we're not. Like,
yeah.
We're not, and that's finding it more and more, I guess, with comedy. It's like, because you're selling a brand more and more with social media and stuff like that. It's not like you're selling the jokes as much anymore. It's a brand. People have to be that like cool.
Yeah. It's really weird, eh? Like I'm a big, I guess, like pre-pandemic Chris D'Elia fan. And what's got me so much into his comedy is the goofy. Like, he's not political whatsoever. It's just funny for the sake of being funny. But then you go on his social media and it's the same thing. Like, it's like hip hop culture has infused itself into comedy because everybody's obsessed with sneakers now. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like what you like. But it really is strange to be like, oh, I'm here on this guy's Instagram for the jokes. And it's like, no jokes allowed here. Like, guess I gotta buy that. Like,
yeah. It's this weird thing where it's like, and I think it's part and parcel with like how roasts have become a really big thing, right? Where like they've always been a thing, but they were always kind of a once in a while thing. It'd be a big special, it'd be a lot of famous people, and that was it. And then comedians we roasted each other on the road or in the green room, and it was for each other. And now it's become this for the audience again. There's roasts everywhere. You don't have to be famous and everything. I've participated in some roasts. Some are fun if they have a weird theme. But that's become so much of it, and that, like you were saying, like the hip hop culture and everything, and it's become this like, we got to be cool while we're doing this all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so cool, rather than like, you know, we're fucking like telling jokes like this. Why do I have to be so cool all the time? Like,
yeah. What is that that meme that went around? It goes around every couple of years, but it's the the guy making the dick joke on stage, and then it's comedians on a podcast. You know, I really think the most interesting thing about the human condition is like, fucking dude, come on, man. Like,
I know, because it's like there's just like with anything now, everything gets talked to death, and there's ways you can do it where it's fun, like this, of like, where did this joke come from, or where that, or like analyzing it like that, like in this like curious way. But sometimes it is in this very like holier than thou way of like, can you believe what we're doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And not in a way of like, can you believe what we're doing? We're fooling everybody. Like,
Yeah.
into thinking this.
Yeah. No, it's a comedian's job to be irreverent and dangerous, Bobby.
Oh my,
you know?
yeah. When I have to go grab a dictionary to know what you mean, and you're fucking get out of here. Like,
oh my God.
oh.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question specifically about your style. I've seen you. I'm a bit of a fanboy, so I tend to see you.
Thank you. I like your stuff too. That's why I think we connected when we did a show together one time, and I was like, "Hey, we think alike." That crazy train of thought that you try to get people to get on.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, also like, get out of here.
See,
Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're both like, yeah, come on. And then they're there and you're like, oh, get out of here now.
Yeah. Stop in for tea, but like, you don't want to pay rent here. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to ask specifically, the way that you do an act out is so funny to me, because I notice a lot that both styles are great, but there's a thing among comedians where they'll do an act out, and within the act out there are jokes. For me, watching you, what I find is so unique is that the joke is the act out for you. There's a way, now it's going to be uncomfortable for me to do this, but there's a way that you like contort your body to make yourself look smaller. And it's so funny. It's specifically in this joke, you do it quite a bit when you're referencing the hunchback that has the market, and where did you come up with that idea? Is that like an Eddie Murphy thing or a Richard, like?
It was a weird thing of like kind of watching and liking a lot of comics who had the confidence to do act outs.
Right.
Because when you're starting out, even if people look up to people that are famous, not for doing act outs, but have done act outs, they'll still look down on it when you're starting it.
Right.
And I had like older comics kind of be like, oh, you acted out because you don't have the writing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It just get in your head. But they were just kind of like, fuck it. That's part of what I do. You know what I mean? Like why I find things funny. And I think the weird, like making myself small thing is part of like, and this is only because I've been recently going to therapy, finally.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Over the past like 6 months or so, it's kind of realizing like I was always kind of told like to calm down. You know what I mean? So it was like this weird way of like, okay, I'm doing that. I'm calming down, but I'm going to still do what you told me not to do, but it calmed down. You know what I mean? Like it's this weird, like I would always get in trouble for talking out in class. And always like, hey, you know what I mean? So like that kind of weirdly just went to the stage. And when I finally started filming myself and be like, why am I doing that? But then I'm like, it works.
Yeah.
Like, and so I just kind of like accepted it and just would be like, oh, when something calls for it. And I talk, look at right now, I just talk with my hands a lot.
Yeah.
Just how I am. So it was like adapting it to work for me. Because sometimes it would be all over the place and I'd be acting out stuff that didn't need to be acted out.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's like reining it in so it's not out of control.
Yeah.
Because I used to act out, be like, hey, everybody. It's like, okay, calm the fuck down. What are you doing? Like,
yeah. That's cool though, that you're conscientious enough of it that you know when to dial, you like add the little spice, like when a musician plays fast on their instrument or something like that. You're like, I know just when to do this. That's cool. I mean, that's part of doing it for. I'm 6 months in, so I can't be like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But you're a fan of it enough, and you've done another art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you can see the work that goes into this, that goes into, you know what I mean? Just like I find like stand-ups can go into acting because they see the dedication and everything in writing that is over here. They can translate those skills over there and respect it. Like a musician, same thing. Coming into this, you can, and you love comedy and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're not just like someone who's just like, I'm gonna try this. You're like, I want this to be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like someone said this is the thing to do before 40. Like, you know, like you're not coming out like, which is fine if people want to do that. Who cares?
For
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, you're not coming at it like that. So like, give yourself a little more credit, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it is something very interesting about this industry, which I think is why so many comedians have that thing when it comes to newer comics, is because unlike music where you need to dedicate years of your life in order to learn the thing and then you can go performing, you have to do the two at the same time. So seeing somebody calling themselves a comic at like 2 weeks in who is going to go do 2 open mics then never do it again, I can see where the feathers can get ruffled. So,
and I used to be like that.
Yeah.
and it's a thing of just maturing and kind of also not giving a shit anymore. Because even when I cared, what did I care?
Yeah.
If at some open mic where I'm there to work on joke A, B, and C,
Yeah.
if the person two before me calls himself a comic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No one in that audience is gonna go like, okay, I'm liking, like I'm performing, and they're like, I like his jokes, but that guy two people before thought he was a comic. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this like what it's such a weird thing to obsess about, but it's because we put so much of our identity into this.
Yeah.
That when someone comes along and goes, I'm that, I see exactly what you mean of like why people get their feathers ruffled.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I'm the same way for sure.
Yeah, it's just like to me, it's just another fun, interesting thing, like to see people's quirks when someone is upset. Like, can you believe this guy's calling himself a comic? It's like, yeah,
he's pretty funny, man. Like,
it's pretty funny. Yeah, like, well, we were all on the show, and the host introduced him, your next comic. Like,
yeah.
I can see why he might say that.
yeah.
I think he's walking around being like, I'm a heart surgeon, and like he's gonna kill people. It's just because it's this weird thing comedians have where it's like he's doing the disservice to our art form. Now let me go and do that Tinder joke that I've been hacking at for 8 weeks. Like, who cares if someone calls themselves for a bit? Like,
did you hear me tag that dick joke, man? I'm a comic. All right, you hear that callback?
Exactly.
Oh fuck. Yeah, never. Yeah. I haven't been able to articulate it into words, but why it is so weird that mentality is the way that it is. But that's really funny.
But I get it because, like I said,
for sure,
I had that once because I didn't want to do that at first either. I would say amateur trying to do this because, like you, like I want to be good at this before I would even call myself this, and I don't want to disrespect this. It was kind of sacred, and then okay, I'm doing Wednesday night at a Yuck Yucks every 2 weeks, and I'm potentially might get signed, and I'm not yet, and I'm getting paid every once in a while doing these road gigs opening for people. I think I could say I'm a comic, you know what I mean? And then when someone would come in who I'd never seen before, and then that's the other thing, your head gets so big that you think you know the scene. You know everyone in existence, especially in Toronto because it's like really big and new people are starting out all the time. It's like, who's this guy? Thinks he's a comic? I'm a comic because that's my identity right now. And if that's not my identity, what am I gonna do?
No, it's really hard. Like, I mean, specifically as well to be taken seriously if you do have such a love for it and you do want to be, do consider yourself a comic and want to. I mean, part of the reason why I do this show because I could just listen to Rock Bottom all day and just go, man, he's a genius. Like I could do that in my private life. But part of the reason I put this show out is because I also want to show this side of me that's like, I've been obsessed with comedy since I was 9. So I want,
I'm the same way. This like got a bunch of books right here, got comic books, but this row right here, all comedy books.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like Carlin, got David Cross, Norm Macdonald, Bill Hicks, Simon Blake, like so many. Because like exactly like that, I devour and I love reading. So I was like, oh, I'll combine the two like that. Like Judd Apatow's interview book, this amazing other one, A Futile and Stupid Gesture, all about Doug Kenny starting National Lampoons. Because like I just wanted to devour and get fascinated with it.
Yeah.
But then like that's why, when you asked to do this, I was like, I love talking about it in that way. You know what I mean? Of just like, oh, where did this come from? Or why do you write like this or this and that? And then I find a lot, like I said, I look back on that joke a little bit now where I'm like, I'm glad I found my voice then, but now it's changed so much along the way.
Yeah.
Like to like the darker stuff from that's a lot of it's on the album, a lot of darker stuff.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like got a lot of that out.
Yeah.
And I still write like that. And I have like some dark jokes like that. But then like recently, like I was writing a joke about puzzles. But coming at it in that same way.
Right.
That I would these other ones. I'm just like, how can I mind this? Like, because what I'm finding funny about this right now, I am belly laughing about it. How do I say it? And it's all about, I find more and more is confidence.
Yes. Yeah.
As you're saying it. Obviously it has to be funny, but so much about confidence.
Yeah. Okay.
So much about confidence. It's just like, know that you found this funny.
Yeah.
And when performing it, have that same oomph you had when you first wrote it down.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do that. You know what I mean? Because like that's why it's like it's always tempting to want to just write on stage.
Right. Okay.
To go up with a premise and just like, I'll just write it on stage because I'm so funny in the moment when I'm coming up with an idea and that fire's there, but it needs work. You know,
yeah.
And so, sorry, I'm rambling. You know what I mean? I almost wish I could have written this down. So I was like, okay, I'll talk about this.
No, that's great though, man. Because this is another situation where I think we think so similarly. Like I write on the road all the time. Like if I'm on my way to work or I'm on my way to a gig or anything like that. And it's the same situation, man. Like to me, nobody is funnier than me. I know exactly what's going to make me laugh. And there's been times where I have to pull off to the side of the road because I'm like crying, laughing at this idea in my head, you know? But
yeah. And people think that's like, oh, that's egotistical. Don't laugh at your own jokes. I'm like, no, what? Why would I tell them if I don't think they're funny?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what a weird thing to come up with something and be like, that is funny. Not for me, but for the people. Like, what?
You got to do relationship jokes, man. People love relationships.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. There's like stuff that like, obviously when I'm working, it's a combo of like what it's because like not every single thing I write makes me go like, I am sometimes just putting puzzle pieces together and being like, this works because I like this part right here.
Right.
And I really want them to get this, but it's so fucking weird that I need to give them a trail of stuff they'd like before I show them the weirdest thing.
Of course, yeah.
It's like telling even a friend of yours, if you tell them something you're really weirdly into, you don't just like, you're hanging out, you're like, I like looking at feet or something, you know what I mean? Like, you're hanging out for a bit, you're watching a Tarantino movie, you're like, oh, Tarantino likes feet.
Yeah.
You see their opinion on it, and then you're like, I like feet. They're like, me too. Or like, oh, cool, good, whatever. It's the same thing with a joke. I have the weirdest ideas, and I can't just go out there. Like, I don't know if you've seen Crab at a Dinner Party.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like that's so weird.
Yeah.
But like, I have to give them some normal jokes before I do that. I can't just walk on stage and be like, Crab at a Dinner Party. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that I love. Liam and I went to go see that the Brown Paper Bag show, and where we saw Crab at a Dinner Party, and Liam and I were just fucking howling laughing. It was
because it's one of those things, and again, it's confidence because half the people liked it, because they found it funny, and other people were like, "What the fuck?" But then I went right to another joke confidently, and those other people that were like, "What the fuck? I don't like this guy." Were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rather than like, "Oh, you didn't like Crab at a Dinner Party," then they'd be like, "What are we watching?" Like, you know, it's like. And I heard that from watching John Doerr a lot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
John Doerr is amazing at that kind of just like weaving to the weirdest kind of stuff, but confidence. Yeah. Just like unbridled, legit. I know what I'm doing, even if you think you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that Crave special, he like brings his mom up halfway through it. Just like it's so Very, very funny. Very funny. Well, fuck, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but again, we get talking and everything like that. So, but
yeah, exactly.
Your stand-up album Rock Bottom is available on Spotify if you side with Joe Rogan, and it's also, I just checked, it's on Tidal as well if you're a Neil Young fan instead.
I am so okay. I try to, and not to try to stay out of political stuff. Like I have opinions, follow political things or whatever. Yeah. But at first, I didn't realize what the fight was about because I'm trying to stay off social media sometimes. I thought people were just like finally like, fuck Spotify, they don't pay us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I made a post because someone else made one like that, was like a comedian friend of mine, Matt O'Brien, made a post like, hey, switch to Sirius XM. Like they actually pay us, and Spotify, we get like pennies. And I like, that was his very zen way of throwing his hat into the argument or whatever you want to say, you know what I mean? And it's a very like positive way. And then I just thought, I'm like, oh, we're taking down Spotify because they don't pay people. So I made a post being like, yeah, I have Sirius XM, and I do. And I've never gotten Spotify because it doesn't pay people, and I do this. Why would I want to pay for something? Anyways, all this blah blah blah. Use whatever you want to use. And then I didn't realize until some people started commenting like, Joe Rogan, isn't this bad? I'm like, I didn't fucking say it. They don't pay anybody. I don't care about I was about to say Neil Diamond.
Yeah. Fucking yeah. I don't think
they're taking Coming to America off Spotify. The Coming to America. Sorry.
It's such a good song, though.
I love Neil Diamond. That's why I was like, yeah, no. But
Yeah.
anyways, sorry. See the tangents I could go off. You say one thing. Albums on Spotify. If you got that and you want to support Joe Rogan and everywhere else, I believe.
Yeah. Beauty. And I have it in the wrap up as well. But Broadway, the Broadway show. That's cool, man.
I'm excited because I was supposed to do some shows obviously this month at Yucks, but the convoy has kind of shut it down because they want things to open up. I don't care. It feels like a weird South Park episode come to life.
It really does, eh?
You know what I mean? Like it's just they took our jobs. Like it's just but whatever.
I saw this comment on Twitter. It was just some random innocent comment that was like, when the fuck did Canada become more USA than the USA? It's like, I don't know.
People have always been here. They're just like, oh, we're getting together.
We're 2 years into this, man. Most of us are fatigued and are like, we just want to do stand up again. We're all like, anyways.
I know. But so I was supposed to do that. So it'll be, I think, my first show back.
Wow.
After a couple months.
Fucking A. Yeah. 22nd. Let's see if I can remember this without looking at my notes. 22nd, 7:30 at 1896. Oh, what's the name of the street?
I don't even know Ottawa that well. I only moved here a year ago. And then if things open up, I will be hosting Yucks this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
Coming up.
Yeah. That's
it's 18th, 19th.
You and Wafik, eh?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah. I'll be hosting. I think he's Midland or featuring or something.
Sweet.
All right. I think we're both on. But yeah. If things open up again.
Fuck yeah. Well, I will be there. I'll have to buy a ticket. And by buy a ticket means text. I'm going to text Dan. So
yeah, I was going to say, come on in.
But thank you.
So fun.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you. Appreciate you hanging out. I appreciate your stuff. And God bless. I guess I'll see you on the 18th.
Yeah. Can't wait to see you.
Cheers.
What a great dude. What a funny guy. What an insightful human being. And if you like those clips that I shared in the middle of the interview, I have good news for you. Bobby's going to be performing at Broadway, which is, if I have my notes here and they're up to date, 1896 Prince of Wales Drive in Ottawa, Ontario. If you want to go check that out, the show is going to be emceed by David Brennan. It's also going to be featuring Dylan Parker, Jeff Davis, and Emmett Morrison, 3 great Ottawa comedians. It's $15, $15 online, $20 in advance. You guys know the drill with shit like that. So if you want to buy tickets and go see that, I'm sure he would appreciate it, and it would be pretty dope to see him live. You might see me there because I am a fan and tend to follow him around with stuff. I pop up when he least expect it. Anyways, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all the support, and I appreciate the support on the last episode as well with Wafik. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed that. This is really just my way to nerd out. When I do stand-up or when I write jokes, of course, it's that's my way of being the stand-up comedian, but I don't often get to show the side of me that really consumes as much stand-up comedy as possible, and again, feasts on it like some sort of voracious joke-eating monster. So I'm happy that I'm able to share this shit with you. So if you like the video, please share it around with your friends, like and subscribe and all that good shit, and I will see you next week. Peace, love, and unity. Y'all take care now. Bye! Oh, I gotta figure out a way to make this a little bit more natural.